I ride my bike.
What kind of bike do you have?
It's a sledgehammer.
Dang. You got shocks, pegs. Lucky.
What's up guys, Danielle here, neutralsupport.net, and it is day 3 of Pedro's week. So, of course, bringing out the classics. Vise Whip version 2. So Pedro's came out with the Vise Whip a while ago. People love it. They use it, they swear by it, but this is the newest version. They added some features, added some usability things that make it a little bit easier to use, potentially getting you to throw your chain whip in the garbage. Now, I am a chain whip evangelist, so I don't know if I can make the switch, but I guess we'll see. Let's go. So I've got the new version 2 Vise Whip over here. Originally designed by Leonard Zinn, in case you didn't know that. The idea being that you grip on the teeth as opposed to using a chain whip. Now, you all know that I'm a chain whip person, as I made this handle for this Pedro's in another video. The best thing about this chain whip was essentially the same issue that this tool is trying to solve, in that you could hook around the cog and actually use this spring-loaded clip to put pressure so that the actual chain couldn't fling off. So if you've ever used a traditional chain whip that doesn't have this spring-loaded clip, occasionally you're going to put pressure, the chain just whips off. A chain whip. Then you're left with, I don't know, bleeding hands because you punched the cassette you're trying to get off, etc. So it was a nice touch on the chain whip that Pedro's also made. I removed the branding because it was on the handle. But this is their chain whip. I love it, but the Vise Whip might just be a chain whip killer. So check this sucker out. From version 1 to version 2, they actually added an alternating detent lock ring tool also. So you can actually grab a lock ring and twist it off, which is really cool. It's a good use for this tool. They made it so that not only are you able to grab multiple things, and it's a Vise Whip the way that you remember it, but also here in the handle, you can see the tooth count for what you were grabbing.
Oh my God.
So you can set the tool to grab the right number of teeth and know that it's going to be close to the right pressure or the right pressure, depending. So I thought that was cool because you don't have to guess and then close it down and see where you are and then try to guess again and close it down. And you don't ever get to the point where you're closing down too tightly on any of the teeth. So I'm going to set this guy to 10. I think that's 10. So this is a 10 tooth cog from SRAM. I'm gonna set that guy in there. Set that guy right there. 10. Grabs in. You can see that it actually, this plate right here rests behind the cog, and then the 2 indents rest between the teeth. So hypothetically, any bicycle chain this distance should be the same, but the distance from cog to cog will be what's different. So a lot of compatibility issues come in with tools because of the difference between 10, 11, and 12 speed chains. That's the thickness of this plate allows you to go between the cogs. So I've got it set at 10 now. We're going to try to go to 12. So 12 is the next size. So I'm going to actually set it to 12. And here. There's that. And it's not going anywhere. So it creates a tension that's not so tight that you're doing something crazy like chomping down on the teeth, but it's tight enough that you're not going to lose this part of the tool. And I appreciate that. The numbers aren't exact. So for example, you'll notice that I've found that turning the dial to the opposite side of the logo seems to set it pretty close for me. I don't know if there are actual instructions for that of where you're supposed to line it up, but there's a little bit of wiggle room depending on where you set it, but at least gives you a good idea so you get close. So I'm going to throw in some bonus tools that I had laying around from this also. And that is their updated cassette tool. So this is their cassette tool. Both of these bodies are the same. The one without a pin in it is a separate tool, so you have to buy just this one to get one that doesn't have a pin at all. Good for those e-bike or other or other threaded axle bikes that you need to get over to get a cassette. So not very many, but enough of an application that it needs its own thing. Both of these use the same body, so you get the knurling for turning, but you also get the flats for using a wrench, and you get the socket. So that's the same between both of these tools. But what's really cool is this guy. So you get the through axle guide on here, but you also, love that sound, get the pin for quick release in the same tool. And if you notice in the end here, there's a magnet. That's what helps it stay on. So when it's slid over here, it doesn't really come off very easily, so you won't lose it. So one nice thing about this cassette tool, besides the other three features, is the taper on here I like a little bit more than other tools like the one from Park, because when you put it into the cassette, you actually get some really good engagement as you get to this taper. So you put that in there, you can see that the splines are actually engaged all the way up to that taper point, and you just get this really snug fit, and it just doesn't move around, which is nice. And then add the bonus of having multiple axles or being able to have this one, and you just basically can get any cassette out without worrying about it. So that's that. Updated Vise Whip, updated cassette tool, 2 for 1. So there you have it. Vise Whip version 2, like a fine wine, aged to perfection. Does a lot of things that the old tool doesn't do, does all the things that the old tool did do. So if you have the old tool, it's not bad, but hey, it might actually be worth the upgrade if you want to add things like the double slotted lock ring tool. A lot of good things were done to improve upon an already very cool tool. Now, am I a chain whip convert? I don't know. I use chain whips so long, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but this tool might just do it. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It'll tell you every time I do it. This week in particular, I'm doing 5 full days of PEDRO'S, so you'll get every notification when those drop. Head over to neutralsupport.net. I've got some swag, t-shirts, hats, aprons, you name it. You can tell everybody that you like the channel by wearing the stuff, just like me. As always, hope you guys have a good day.